Thank you for following us on Tidbit Tours this past month.
For August, we're going to shake things up and bring you a different theme.
We're going to be talking about film and movie production here on campus.
This is Alex.
And this is Nadine.
And for August, we're taking Tidbit Tours to the movies.
Lakeshore Grounds has been a place of movie production since 1970s.
So grab the popcorn and let's go.
Toronto is a great place for film production. There's a couple of reasons for that. One of them is, well, it looks like any city in the USA. Now, this specific week, we're actually bringing you films that haven't even been released yet, or some of their recent works. One of Toronto's nicknames is North Hollywood, because it is such a popular location for film production and movie shoots. This week, we're going to bring you some of the more recent films and TV shows that were shot here on campus in the past 3 years.
The 2020 Netflix series Lock and Key used the east side of campus for multiple scenes to represent a private school. Now, most of these scenes were set in the winter but filmed in the summer, so all the snow you see had to be shipped in.
Handmaid's Tale filmed several scenes here on campus. One of them was season 3, episode 9, when June comes out of a hospital and the rain's coming down her face, and she stopped right here.
What We Do in the Shadows is a vampire mockumentary heavy on the horror and the comedy. It used the east side of campus, and even though it's set in Staten Island, is entirely filmed in Toronto.
Canadian actor Keith Sutherland stars in Designated Survivor. Several scenes from the show were shot here on campus. One of them is in a hospital, which is right behind me in the G building. You can actually see the orange couches in the background.
Next week on Tidbit Tours, we'll be bringing you some cult classics that define generations.
And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please DM us. We'll see you again soon. This week we'll be talking about cult classics. Now, what makes a movie a cult classic? Well, there's a bit of a cult behind it. Usually a whole bunch of fans that really appreciate and like the movie, doesn't matter how bad it is.
Canadiana is defined by brothers Bob and Doug McKenzie. You can catch the brothers right here on Lakeshore Grounds in the movie Strange Brew. Strange Brew filmed across the waterfront and right over here for the Oktoberfest denouement.
Urban Legend was a horror film made in Toronto. One of the scenes had to do with Stanley Hall, which was this building behind me. Now, it looked a little bit different at that time. It was actually a character that fell out of the window.
Suicide Squad filmed here in 2016. They used the tunnel system directly underneath us to be the backdrop of Killer Croc's cell right at the beginning of the movie.
One of the most famous films filmed here on campus is Police Academy. 3 films out of their franchise were actually filmed here and used pretty much every building on campus and the surrounding areas. The office of Commandant Lassard is actually right above me. Second floor right there.
The Police Academy series made very little changes to the campus during their production. One thing you might note is in Police Academy 3, they constructed an entire swimming pool in the bowl just behind me. Not everything that filmed on the Lakeshore Grounds was a box office hit. Quite the opposite. This week we're going to bring you some lesser known finds from the 80s and 90s. Let's take a look.
Strange Invaders was a 1950s nod to the alien invasion sci-fi classics. But it was set in the 80s, and at that time the humans were taken over by aliens and they're now amongst us. The G building actually made an appearance.
Beautiful Dreamers follows the lesser-known story of poet Walt Whitman when he visits the London Asylum in 1880. The plot follows Whitman inspiring the superintendent to look at his patients in a new way, seeing them as human beings with avant-garde ideas about mental health.
Stanley and Iris follows the story of a recently widowed woman, 2-time Oscar winner Jane Fonda, where she teaches an illiterate short-order cook, Robert De Niro, another 2-time Oscar winner, to read and write. This campus actually is a retirement home for one of their family members. We hope you've been enjoying our series on movies and TV shows that have been filmed here in Lakeshore Grounds. This week we're going to look at why this is such a popular place. Also, make sure to stay till the end to know our surprise theme for September. In Blue Monkey, the buildings are again used as a hospital that used to be an asylum. The Cumberland House also makes an appearance as a house of an entomologist. Are you enjoying Tidbit Tours? Let us know.
Send us a message with your comments, feedback, or a topic for us to cover in the future.
Thanks for watching. Magic when they were shooting the scene in a courtyard here. Just instead of explaining all the indigenous markers that we have, they used some coniferous trees just to cover them up.
After the closure of the Lakeshore Psychiatric Hospital in 1979, the provincial government retained ownership of the grounds, and without a new tenant to move in, they invited American film companies to come up, use the buildings and the property as some of the settings for their movies.
Lakeshore Grounds were an ideal place for film production. It's slightly removed from Lakeshore Boulevard, which is a major street. It had a whole bunch of empty buildings that could serve multiple purposes, and it was right on the Ontario shoreline, which is perfect for outdoor shots.
Not only have blockbuster movies and TV shows filmed here, the Lakeshore Grounds have also hosted some big names like Mr. T of the A-Team, whose lesser-known legal drama, T&T, filmed several episodes here on the field, at the gazebo, and along the shoreline.
The past 2 months we'll be taking you all over campus, and in the background of every scene there are buildings that are unique to Lakeshore Grounds.
So this September, we'll be exploring the architectural history of the campus.